We're going to assemble up all these heads right here. We got 2 sets of them here. So we got 2 different camshafts. So these are the parts laying here. This is for one head, and that's for another set. So the first thing I do on all these jobs is check your keepers to see if they're any good. So these are genuine Harley collar, genuine Harley keeper. Put these together like that. Pull them and center them, and they shouldn't wobble. There's no wobbling. Nice and tight. That's what you want. Now this one here's a aluminum top collar, probably S&S or somebody like them. Could be Colony. They all look about the same. Same thing, put it in there, pull it, and it should be tight, not wobble. It's tight. Okay, this one here, these are manly keepers over here. Let's put the collar on first. It's another stock collar. Okay, put this one on, and this one is fairly tight also. But if you look at the tops of these things, well, we'll use the same one here. See the distance between here and here? It's about 100 thou or so. And you put the Harley keeper on here. You look at the height and see it's a little bit lower. So the Harley keeper actually sucks the valve spring for more lift. So the result is the manly keeper actually compresses the collar further down by about 30 thou or so, roughly, and it compresses your valve spring. So if you put a higher lift cam and stock in there, you can run into problems. If you go an aftermarket spring, this here is an Andrews spring. This one here I think is a Crane spring. Slightly different. These are a little bit stiffer than these, but they're both pretty good. Stock Harley springs are real short and different. These actually have more clearance in them for high lift cams than stock springs to begin with. So we'll show how that works. Now here's what you don't want to do is, these are aftermarket keepers here. Now these here I pulled out of a motor. This one's brand new. This one's a set that came out of a motor. So there's the used ones. These are the brand new ones. Using the same Harley collar again. Okay. I'm going to use these used ones here. Now this guy dropped the valve. It goes in there, holds it. Look at the rock in it. Does not tighten the valve stem up at all. It just bounces around in there. So those are crap. And that's what you get these days. Crap. Okay, now this is a brand new set right here. These ones came from Eastern. And they don't care that they don't work either. You can see the crap. Same one as those. Junk. So you get a lot of these crappy keepers these days that are no good. So I found that Manly's work, genuine Harley work really good, and then also the Kibble White stuff works with their collars. With Harley collars they're a little loose, but with their collars they work pretty good. Everybody else's, they suck. So you gotta make sure you got good keepers, otherwise you have problems. Okay, now these here, I've already pre-cut these to make room for valve seals. Let me grab a collar here. I cut these lips off right here to get room for your valve seals, so you got room for valve seals. So we'll show that later. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to check our coil bind clearances. So we're going to take a set of each of these. And here's a brand new lower collar, and it's been cut also, as you can tell. So we're going to measure up that set, this set, and the aluminum collar set. Let me drop it one more time. Okay, so let's go measure all this and see what we got. Okay, we're going to check our coil bind dimensions here. Not too hard to do. Requires a vise. Okay, rotate the spring so you got the 2 flat parts here to measure against. See, when you get over here, it's all round, you can't measure it. So, center it up in your jaw. Just go ahead and run it down until it quits moving. Right there, it quits moving. Now, if you see in here, you can see the gap in here on the top spring, the outer spring, but the inner spring is tight. And it's actually not tight on this side because I can see a gap even down in there. See, that's between the inner springs right there and the upper springs a lot. So it's underneath down here is where the high spot is. springs don't hit evenly all the way around when they bottom out. But anyway, we're tight right there. So you take your caliper and you go measure it. And we have 857. 800 here, 57 thousandths. So you got to remember that number. We'll call it 860 so it's easier to remember. Okay, that was the one motor's job. Now the other motor, we got steel collar and aluminum collar. These are the higher springs. Same thing, get the two flats so you can measure them. So this one, it's bottomed out on the inner, I can see it, and I still got a gap on the outer. And this one is 843. So we'll call that 850 and round it off. Okay, I'm going to do it with the aluminum collar, see if there's a difference. You need to check every spring too, because they do vary. See, this one's at 860 again. So we got 860, 850, 860. Okay, I'm going to show what to do next. On?
Yeah.
Okay, we just got done measuring all these. These are 3 are 860, one's 850. And these two are 870, this one's 860. So we mark these so we don't get them mixed up. So now what we got to do is figure out our overall lift we need. So we got a 412 lift cam. We put a 50,000 clearance. And we have our number here, which is 860. And we have an 870 also. So you add all those up. So you got 612, 15, 12, 13. So that's our coil bind for one of them. And this one's going to be 10,000 bigger. So I'm going to call this 35. And call it 325. Always round up, never down. Okay, so that's our coil bind for the stock motor. This is for the 49 PanHead. Okay, the other one we got is for the 65 pan. And that one we got the 490 lift cam in it. Put our 50,000 like the other one. And these were 460 on our clearances. I mean 860, excuse me. So we do this one, 11, 22, 8 and 6 is 400. So I got 400 on this motor. So those are the coil dimensions you're going to need for your coil bind heights. So you got 330, 335, 325, and 400. Now what that works out to be in the real world is, we're measuring this right here. Take your lower collar, take a little spring to hold it apart, put your top collar in here, run the keeper you're going to use, this one measures out about 335, 340. So that will work for our high cam. I mean our taller spring number. So if we wanted to be exactly right, we would shim this up and down if we need to get better, but we already got this one pretty close. Okay, this is on the intake valve here. So now we're going to check the other ones and see if we're the same spring clearances. So we'll check all of these next. Where's your intake? Okay, now we're doing the other head here. We got the first set figured out. Okay, this is the PanHead number. I had the wrong lift, it's only 470, so it's 1380 is what we need. So let's go ahead and check these. Now this motor has longer intake valves and bigger diameter than this other motor. It's either a bit longer, a lot bigger. So the way they're cut inside the chamber here is different. Look at two different sizes of valves, stock and big. So a lot different. All this affects what you're doing. So we're going to do the exhaust first. So we're going to use this parts over here. That one in. Now this motor has stock keepers with higher lift, so the other motor worked out good with nothing on it because the keepers compressed it more to make it good. This one needs more room because it's got a higher lift. So we're coming in about 325, 330 is what we got. And we need 380. So we're going to do some work to get that to fit. Now we'll check the other one. Check this for the stock collar first. Okay, this one coming in about right about 385 there it looks like, which is good. That's the number we needed. So the intake valve we can use the stock collar on. Okay, on that exhaust we're coming up way short. So we're going to do, we have these high lift collars here. If you look at the difference, they unjack the keepers quite a bit. These actually sit way up high like this, so they move up to about here. So we're going to check to see if that's going to work out on this motor, I mean on this valve, because we came up way short. Flat part of the spring on the collar so it pushes more evenly. Now we check it again. Obviously we're looking at this 138 that we're looking for. So now we're coming up with about 445. So we're twice what we needed. So the option is to find another collar that's in between these two, which is hard to come by these days, or we put some shims underneath this to shim it up. So we'll probably just shim this thing up easy. So let's check what we got for shims and we'll do another check. Okay, we pulled out some thick shims here. So these are 60 thous. That one's 63. Okay, so these are special shims I made to go on these stock collars. You got to make sure that the washer is not so big that it hits in the taper in here, because then it won't be sitting flat. So that's a problem with these early motors. So these ones here are special made for it. And when you put these things in, the serrations here for letting oil in to cool it, they always go next to the valve guide. And these ones are marked this side up also, but if they're not marked, serrations go down. Try that. Going by our dimensions we had before, this should come out pretty close. And make sure the keeper's going all the way too. See, it's wobbling in all the way. Something ain't right. Something isn't right. Do it again. Goes. much better. Okay, now we measure it again. And this time we are coming in about, looks like we're at about 460. I mean 360. And we wanted 380. So we need to get something in between these two, so we'll get some different ones.
Okay.
Alright, we got the different shim we're going to try here. Now these ones are a little bit wider than the other ones, bigger diameter. So you got to make sure they stay in the flat. They take up a lot more area. So. You also got to make sure they sit on top of the valve guide also correctly. So they're good. Aluminum on this motor. Okay. Our thick shim was too thick. These are 30 thou, so they should be plenty. Got a clip for what we need. Okay. So about 405 right now. So we wanted 380, so we're at 400, 405, so a little over. So we got plenty of clearance. Too much is okay, too little is bad. Now if we were maximizing this motor output for high RPM, we'd shim this up closer. But for a regular street bike, if you're within 20,000 is what you need, you're plenty close enough. So on this motor here, the exhausts are getting these aluminum collars, and the intakes are getting the stock collars, because these intake valves are longer than stock, so it takes up the difference. So that's how you make it work. Now the other option on this one here, instead of putting that shim under there, we could have put the manly keeper in there, and that would have probably been good too. So subtle. Okay, we're going to assemble this stuff up. Now we get all our numbers checked. So first thing I do is Loctite our valve guides. I'm going to put valve seals on these, so I always Loctite those in. Ooh, way too much Loctite. Suck some of that back in there. Okay, this is the super heavy duty stuff, sleeve retainer. Make sure you do not put it inside the valve guide. See a little bit on the outside, you just wipe it away. You do not want that on your valve stem. Bike will not like you. See, it didn't take very much. Usually one finger load's enough, but need that extra half a drop. Okay. We might as well get this other motor out here while we're at it. There it goes. Okay. You see the difference in the valve jobs between these different ports. All different. Different intake ports. All been modified though, obviously. Get some more airflow. Okay, now I'll go ahead and put these together. Production line going here. Okay, make sure all the Loctite's off your finger, and now you switch over to lubrication. That is a front one. Yeah, so is this one. Front. Okay. So it's two. All right. Now.
I'm just going to bring it in a little bit so I can focus right on the two valve stems there.
Okay. Ready?
Mm-hmm. It's ready.
Okay. Now, with these valve seals, when you put them on, you cannot go put the collar on afterwards. It doesn't fit over. So, whatever you got to do here in the way of shim, you got to put it on first. So, we're going to put our shims on the exhaust. And put our collar on there. Then we put the seal. The intake. The intake has no shim, so it just goes on raw. Put that seal on. Now when you put a seal on, you wedge it, you kind of roll it around, kind of like putting a shoe on there. And when we get to the groove, do the same thing again on that sharp edge. It goes in. Don't even need no special tool to do it. Okay, exhaust shim. Take that shim. Okay. There's our driver. Hold the seal. Make sure the valve stem's up inside of it. Help center it. You can see how it goes a little bit and it goes all the way. You don't want to beat on it sideways, it'll be loose. When you take and try to move it, if it moves, it's junk. So these ones are on tight, they're good. So those are on there good. Okay, and get the compressor here. Okay, now the exhaust, we're putting the high lift collars on it. It's a genuine Harley spring compressor for, goes back to 36, so it goes back to knuckleheads. Works all the way through 84. Enough to get the keeper in there. Should be enough. I just drop it onto my other finger here. Drop it all the way to the ground, you lose it. So like that. And you just kind of slip it on top of the other finger. Pops in there. You can come by with the back side of the screwdriver. Pushes the bottom, pops up inside the groove on the back side of it. And then this one here, you hold it down like this flat, gotta look at this finger over here. Hey,
Oh.
I'm trying to tell you how to
Oh,
hold
okay.
the keeper.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So you have a keeper, you hold it like that, and then you drop it down right on top of that one. It falls right in. And you crank the crank here. And it comes on up. You hold the bottom with your finger until it's all the way in. Allows it to pull off. And then you're in. Then you take your screwdriver and you hit it right on top of the keeper to seat it, not the collar, the keeper. You give one little whack, one on each keeper, and that makes sure they're in there good. You want to make sure this keeper is not stuck in like that or like that. You want to make sure it's in there flat like that. So when you hit it with a hammer, all you're doing is making sure it's up against this base here, the stop. And the collar's got pressure on it, so it's going to keep it pulled in. So that way you guarantee it's all the way in. You don't want to have the thing in there like that, and then you're driving down the road, it pops off, and you lose your valve. That would be a bad thing. So that's what we're doing. Okay, so that one's in. If you want to measure your installed height again to see where you're at, you can just come across there and double check your measurements. And this time we're about 415 now. We need at least 380, so we're good. So now we're going to put the intake one in here. This one takes a stock collar. You want to make sure you center it up into here if it's not pops in there like it's supposed to. If you heard a little pop there, that's what it did, it popped in. Unscrew a little bit. Okay, so now you got where you can put your finger in there again. Make sure you grab the right keepers. Just use my finger to hold it. But right now the bottom of it's not in, so you push it up in there. There, it's up in there flat now. And you grab the other one, same deal, you drop it right on top. And just push it right there so it sits right where it belongs, and you can crank it again. Okay, that heads together. And double check that stall height also. Maybe we can see in the light. And we only need 380, and that one is right about 380, 375, right in there if you look real close. So the intakes are maxed out, and the exhausts are a little bit unjacked, a little bit lighter tension, which is okay because the exhausts are smaller, lighter valves, so realistically they'll float. The exhaust will probably float first. I mean, second anyway, because the intake's heavier. So you're fine. Okay, now we move on to this other one. And back this one all up. Same thing, different head. It's not going in, so you pop it. Pop in. Then next one. See how it's stuck on the inside the groove there. If you force it, it would just peel that collar right back, which is not good. So you don't need to force it, just line it correctly. Okay, that one's done. One, two, three, and four. You always want to make sure you stand off where it pops if the case comes off chasing you. It will hurt when it hits you. Okay, that one's all assembled up. You can also see how we put all new helicoils all the way through here. So all these holes are good to go. So now you do is finish up the rocker blocks and get these things buttoned up the rest of the way. Okay, we're going to go ahead and assemble up these 49 heads. Already got all the other stuff checked out on these. Go ahead and lubricate these things up. That would be the front one. There's the front intake. That would be the front exhaust. There we go. There's the front and the rear because the guide holes are slightly different between all these valves. Okay, so we got the valves in. We're going to put our valve seals on here. These aren't putting any shims on these, so these go right down. And there's our seal we're putting on. And so we just roll this thing on over the edge. So you don't need no tool. And that is not good. That valve guide is not made right. You cannot get a seal off without destroying it. That one's destroyed. You gotta get the little piece of crap off where the seal breaks off. Okay, we gotta measure up these and see what's wrong here, but these guides are weird guides already, I can see. So let's find out what the problem is.
Okay.
Okay, we're ready to put these seals on. We're having a problem. These guides are oddball guides. They're not made the right size. They're supposed to be this size here, which is 9/16. These ones here are made for the small ones. So we're down here at 5/28 instead of 5/62. These are actually an Ironhead Sportster size, but the problem is these are 3/8 valve stems, and Ironhead has 5/16 and 11/32. So this here is the two different seals. They're really close, but you can see the bigger hole in that one for a 3/8 stem. That one obviously is not going to take a 3/8. So when you measure the inside of the hole in there where the seal goes, it's 4 1/10 thou, that steel lip in there. This one here is a lot smaller, 3/78. Well, 3/8 is 3/75, so it leaves 3 thou clearance to that stem. So what we're going to do is see if these will put these on there and make them work anyway, even though they're wrong. But when you come across oddball stuff, that's what you got to do, is make it work. So this is going to be a real tight squeeze around this stem there. And then you want to attempt to even go over that. And that driver doesn't work either. None of this stuff is made to work. See what we did. Looks like it went on. Now let's see if it goes over the valve guide. Nope. It's over squeezed it. Pull all this stuff apart. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have to cut these guides down to a Sportster size, because see, that seal's loose. When you overspread it, it doesn't spring back enough to be tight. So we wasted that seal. So that one is now trash. So we'll try this again. Okay, these are our valve cutters here for cutting for the valve seals. I'll go over the valve guide here. That one ain't working. What size was that one? 722 by 530. It's already too small. Well, that problem is now not overspreading. It's just cut too damn small to run a seal on it. That's why the seal didn't stay down. But it should, because it goes on. That's weird. It must be because of the size of the stem in there is not letting it go in correctly. So, great. More issues to deal with. Okay, we finally found some valve seals that work here. We got this one put in. These are old Manly Teflon seals, PC seals. They have enough spring on these things that they're way undersized, so they expand that a lot. In this case, not too much because it's on a small guide. But anyway, it worked. That's all that matters. Okay, and luckily we have a low lift cam, so we have enough clearance in here. But if we had a higher lift cam in there, these wouldn't even work for this. It's probably try to use someone else's products. If I use my guides, I wouldn't have had this problem. Alright, so there's our valve is in there. Put our collar on there. Put a little cap over there to protect that lip, because these things really have to squeeze hard. Wiggle onto it a little bit. Move it around the rest of the way. Now we push it over the actual guide. Jams in the top, and it's on there. Got a lot of tension on those. There's 50 horsepower right there. Trying to move them things up and down. Okay. Put those back in. Don't forget to put the collar down. See how loose that guide is? See, that collar just floats there. Not good either, but it's a problem with some of this oddball stuff you come across. So wiggle it over the top of the valve. Once it goes, it goes. Okay, they're all on there. I'm going to assemble them. Line up the hole there. There it goes. It's hitting on the keeper and the base. Pop. If you just force it, all you do is bend stuff and cause other issues. So I got the collar has the valve has grooves in there, it catches on it. Okay. Put these keepers in here. Hold them with your finger. And pop the base of it up there with your screwdriver to get the back side up. There, see it pops up in the groove now. Now you got a light on there. Let's drop this one here. Drop that right on top of that one. And then you just tap it right into it. Whoop, right in the groove, and you can unscrew it. Where's that? Oh, I forgot about that. We have different stall heights on these. The red ones go with the red valve. That was in the other earlier video here. Get a little deeper. And one more. There we go. Okay, those are in. We got to seat the groove here a little bit. Make sure the keeper's in the groove all the way. Just hit on the top of the keeper, not the collar. Just give it a little tap. Just make sure it finds its way home there. That one's good. Okay. This other head here. Next one. Yeah, we're way off on that one. Something ain't right. Alright, redo it. The springs float around a lot on these collars. Didn't center up very well. This one's fighting me. But it's losing. Okay, that goes in. Tap it again. It's in. Do a quick measurement here, make sure our numbers are good. Looks like we're about 330 or so. And we needed a 325 and 335. So we're right in there. This one's up at about 350, so we're pulling on that one. The intake's a little snug, but that's why we give it 50. We can cheat a little bit of clearance. This one here is another one that's pretty tight. This one's down there about 315, 320. And that one's up about 325, 330, so they're good. So this one's a little tight, so instead of having our 50 thou clearance, we only got about 35, but close enough. Got a little extra spring tension on that one. We still got 30 thousandths of coil bind clearance, so we're good. As all this stuff wears in, you'll gain 15 or 20 thou anyway, so as it breaks in. So we're good. So were you cutting it off?
Well, no. When I went to tight there, it
You're
stopped.
recording right now, so you can.